Alright, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day 101. So, here is the standard introduction. Once again, there's no updates to this information. Did not work on any videos today. Today, mostly worked on some errands. And I did do a little bit of work on the block mining game. And I'll be continuing on that during this stream. So I'm continuing work on improving the building out the unit tests so I can fix bugs and performance issues in the screen layer merging process. I'm going to build. So the next thing, the next bit of fuzz testing that I need to cover is randomly making the layers active or inactive. All right, game still loads. I also found I had an off by one error in the in how I was setting up the changed regions. That was probably explains why in the last couple of streams I had for some bugs I would only be able to get them to trigger with a 2x2. It's because there was no change region in it, so I fixed that. And the latest thing I've done is add randomization to the layer setup, so that some of the layers, the layer itself will be inactive. So I have each individual character in the screen array can be active or inactive, but also the entire layer itself can be inactive or deactive. So my output is a bit cryptic here, but actually I can barely even see that on the screen. Maybe I should make that a different color. I guess I could make the foreground a different color. That's still hard to see. Nirendra Singha says what? What indeed? Okay, I can kind of read that better. So layer 0, the output layer, is inactive. It's got no change flag, or it's not in change region, it's got a change flag. Expected output equals L, but saw G. Yeah, that's wrong for sure. John Lai says, I'm on my phone. I just noticed some new icons that I can tap on the right of my chat. Which of those heart smiley icons do? They're different from the keyboard emojis. I'm actually not really sure. I noticed those hearts going up. I think it like, I don't know, it's just like a way to engage with the stream or something. I think, my guess is that it's, what they're trying to do is they're trying to copy Twitch emotes, because that's, I guess, a thing in Twitch culture, is you like spam emotes when something is happening. And I think that's their attempt to do the same thing. But I honestly don't understand enough about the Twitch culture to really get it. And I think on here, my guess is it's probably just a small engagement signal. So it probably does give some like indication. It probably is some positive indication, but yeah, that's a lot of hearts. I mean, it looks like someone must be clicking it very quickly. Who knows if it really does much. Oh, it's from you. I guess that makes sense. There's only 5 concurrent, or 5 or 4. I think yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it counts as like a like or something. You can probably separately like the stream. So the expected output was L. That's definitely wrong. It should not be expecting L, it should expect G. For layer 0. I'll tap while eating dinner. That's a lot of work. What if it doesn't do anything though? I guess it's probably just like a signal that you like what's happening at that time. I guess I don't really. Maybe someone out there can explain like the significance and relevance of spamming emotes in Twitch chat. I've never spammed emotes before, but I know that people do that. I worry the tapping is actually on and off instead of accumulating. I don't know, the hearts look like they're going up. I have seen other people spam it like that before. D101, let's go. Only 899 more days to go till day 1000. All right, we'll fire up the debugger and figure out why it's expecting the wrong character. It's the how to make it a CPU guy. Yes, it is. And that's how you make a CPU. First, get a rock, then smash the rock. How do I know to spot your sprint at the next Waterloo meetup? How do I know to spot your sprint? No, Spirit. Sorry, I misread that. That's a good question. Actually, when is the next reading week. That's probably coming up soon, isn't it? I'll have to pay attention to when that is. I don't know, maybe I could go. YouTube needs to improve their UX. Right now, these new engagement icons are blocking last few words. Actually, it used to be even worse because like the actual icon itself, like that's like just below where the cursor is, that used to be like a part of the chat. So there was no way I could actually change. I'd have to wait until someone like it was up in the chat window area itself, so you could just never read the message. And even if you like resize the UI, it would still be obscuring a couple words. Very the current design is definitely an improvement. YouTube has so much money. How come they don't realize obvious UX issues like these? I think they actually don't have many people who work on streaming. I've watched some other people do like opine on YouTube streaming in general, and I think their conclusion was that the hypothesis is that YouTube actually does not make money from live streaming overall, so they actually don't invest in it because they don't even care. Do you have a favorite font? I love GNU Uni font. I don't have a favorite font, but I probably should. I haven't really thought about it a lot. Font selection is actually one of those things that I don't completely understand. The mechanics of how a font is selected. I've actually run into this problem trying to figure out what font is actually being used, because there's like a fallback font. Well, with this terminal game, emojis are it involves printing emojis, so there's a consideration about what font is selected for the emojis. But at one time, you can technically have like multiple fonts selected. Though there's like a fallback font for certain characters and stuff, and it's always been kind of cryptic to me how those are even selected. All right, let's figure out why. It's giving me the wrong character. What's the stream about? The stream content itself is I'm doing some debugging work on some unit tests for my terminal-based video game, which is a video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks of iron ore on the Linux terminal. So this explains why the test case is wrong. That's interesting. Why wouldn't it be in a changed region? Cool, thanks for the answer. No worries. Robert also answers questions on various things. That is true. Game Dev Chat says, "Hey Chief, what's up?" Not much, just continuing on with working on that terminal block mining game, trying to get through fixing these unit tests so I can actually get on to the development that I want to do. Interesting, there's now performance issues with the engagement icon. It's starting to lag. Oh, there must be a memory leak. It must be every time you tap it, it's like leaking. It's like instantiates a new object and then doesn't release it. Actually, that should have concluded that it's in a change region. So there's something wrong there. What are you building? I'm building a terminal-based video game. I have some, I think my most recent, like 3 videos ago, my long form, I have a video going into it in more detail. Before the hertz would register and float up in a steady stream. Now they transmit patches of like 10 to 20. So this should pick up that this is inside of a changed region. see what that code looks like. May I refer you to something? What do you mean refer? Like just mention something in the chat. You can refer to something in the chat. Okay, but if it's if you post a link, I think it'll probably get blocked. You can just describe it to Google. Not really black hat. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're implying. But if you're referencing something illegal, don't post it or talk about it here. Message was blocked. That makes sense. YouTube blocks a lot of stuff. Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't know what goes on there. Yeah, I'd say I have no idea. I don't know what actually goes on. I don't know if there's illegal stuff that goes on there, but if there is, don't refer to anything that's inappropriate on here. But I think I've heard of that from a long time ago. So it's probably just a bunch of like script kiddies and stuff. And I assume if there's anything super illegal there, it probably would have take it down by now. But okay. A forum for marketers, marketeers. Cesspool of spammers. Yeah, that's what I would assume. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything that goes on at that forum, but if I gotta keep the chat and the community clean, so Yeah, I have no specific. It's legit. I don't know about that. I don't know of what's going on there, and I don't care about what's going on there, and it's not relevant to anything I do here. I think I'll have to make a policy about. There's lots of people who come in like dropping hints about stuff, and I may, if you continue to advertise things like that, then I may have to ban. Spent yesterday building a script that builds an image of an automated installer for my local AI software, AI server. Still need to clean up the hardware. It'll be done. Neat. Is that going to run on those refurbished GPUs? Not dropping hints, just referring you to in case you might be interested in building a solution that others might find beneficial. Well, I'm not interested. The Quad 3090. Interesting. I've totally lost touch with what the latest GPUs are. They must be pretty powerful these days. Or have they plateaued in like the last 5-10 years like everything else? So I think the issue is then after I clear the process of merging clears the changed regions. haven't bought anything newer. I own 8 3090s. Nice. That should make for a pretty powerful AI rig. So this is not calculating. This is not correctly calculating if it's in a changed region, because the changed regions get cleared every time that they're merged. They just had such bad releases with 40 by 0 and 50 by 0. I actually don't understand that metric. 40 by 0, 50 by 0. Is that like a measurement? A physical measurement? Or like something about the pinout of it? Okay. Okay. How much is a brand new top of the line video card now? They were like $1,000 or $2,000 or something during the pandemic, if I remember correctly. I can fix this easily by doing this. All right, that might just fix it. Over 2K for 5090. Wow. Typical 28. Wow, it's even more than I thought. Black Hat World is a funny place. The SEO advertisement posters they make are incredible. I don't have any. I know of it. I think I maybe like visited that forum like once years ago, but I'm sure if it's called Black Hat, it's probably a bunch of just Game Dev Chad said, it's probably just a cesspool of spamming and stuff that is not very productive. All right, that completely fixed the bug. Yeah, I have noticed. I mean, from the aesthetic of like my channel, especially like my netcat command video and my like the kind of hackery aesthetic. I mean, I went to university, so the people I interacted with were all like academics and stuff. But then I kind of noticed early on that the like hacker aesthetic attracts like a lot of weird people. I would get messages from people who are like, "Hey, can you help me hack someone's Facebook or something?" I'm like, "No." And every once in a while, there's people who come into the chat or comments that seem to imply like they sell some kind of service like that. I'm gonna have to have some policy of banning that. Polka Spots says, "Hi, how's it going?" All right, that is fixed. Hopefully the remaining bug related to active layers let's see if we can go back to larger layers. Nope. All right, so that requires a 2x2. Interesting. It's not clear to me why that would need 2 change regions to trigger that bug. So for the changed flag, it's expecting to see true, but it saw false. At position x equals 1, y equals 0. Push it right there. So it is in a changed region. So I think that would be an inconsistency in the algorithm. Thoughts on joining the RCMP? That's not something that I think about. Probably not. I think there's probably significant restrictions that would come with that. I guess do you mean for me or for you? And then also, I guess there's a lot of things the RCMP would probably do. I know that the RCMP I think is different from like local police force. To be honest, I don't know exactly what they do. From what I understand, it's I think I've heard to them being referred to as like the Canadian FBI. For me, I saw your video on picking a career. Yeah, I guess it depends. I don't know anything about you. I have no specific knowledge on the RCMP. So it's saying it's on trust change flags, so it should be inheriting this change flag. So I think that's a bug in the algorithm. Thanks. Video is helpful, by the way. Yeah, no worries. I think, in my opinion, a lot of that advice is pretty basic advice, but then again, there's I think there's a lot of young people out there just well, a lot of the mentorship for young people is really horrible, so the bar is quite low, and I think it's just a decent it's better than people just telling you to find your passion. James, it doesn't show me the last name. Thank you to James for the $5. Congrats on making it to day 5. Thank you. So it was hard work streaming for those 5 consecutive days. Now I bet I can maybe still trigger this bug if I do it with the 1. Yeah. All right, that's a little bit simpler. So it's something to do with having an inactive layer and overlapping changed regions. Day 5. It's true, I did make it to day 5, but the message is a little bit late. So the change flag does not get set. If it's in the same position as an inactive layer. Oh, 5. I don't know, it's a bit of a stretch. 5 factorial. Is that what it is? 5 times 4, 20. Times 3 is 60. Times 2 is 120. I guess I could. But it's not day 120. I have it there. They're probably too optimistic about my abilities. It'll make it to a day 120. Tycoon Zone says hi. How's it going? What are you doing? I'm currently working on building some test cases for a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks in the terminal. see what that does. New sub, excellent. C++? No, it's Java. Hi, bro. It's off to the code mines we go. Yes, we're deep in the depths of the code mines for 101 consecutive days. All right, let's see if that fixed our test case. Nope, it did not. Why Java? I get that question a lot. I should almost make a video on it, on that topic. A bunch of reasons. The question is which language is to not do it in. Python, I think, is good for prototyping, but it's not good for anything that's more than a few thousand lines. Rust doesn't seem like a particularly appealing language to me, and I also don't know it. Java is a pretty good language for like very, very large projects. Yeah, I think if it could be in any other language, I would say maybe Go might be a good alternative. C or C++ is not, with all the like string manipulation and data structures and stuff that I need. That's insanity having to manage that. C and C++ makes more sense when you actually need it, like for any kind of embedded stuff. Interesting. It's not even used. So it's changed and it's active. So what's the deal? Java's good. Kotlin is Java done right. I cannot. I don't have enough information to confirm or deny that statement. The tool you know gets the job done almost every time. Unless you try to hyperscale. I don't really think one of the reasons I picked Java is just because it's so ubiquitous, and in my opinion, I think it does scale. If I was going to have thousands of lines of code of something, I would probably prefer to have Java over like C or Rust. Or if you know Bash really well, you could write a web server in it. It's true. I think people have done that. Saves lots of debugging headache with the sig faults, bus errors. Yeah, I've written a lot of C code, and I think it's just an exercise in insanity to try and write more of that for a project like this. How do I make CPU? That's a good question. I get a lot of people asking that, so I made a dedicated video on it. It's a pretty simple process. You just gotta get a rock, then smash the rock, and there's some other steps in my video. Scale in which ways? All the ways in terms of lines of code, or yeah, code and users. He said the thing. Thank you. I'm subscribing. Excellent. All right, let's hone in on this case. 5,856. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because I did not build the core. All right, still has the error. This happens on y equals 1. My breakpoint, not trip. Conditional breakpoints or get her to town. Are you saying I should be using conditional breakpoints? I think I probably could make use of those in general. There have been times when it's been necessary, but for this case, it's insightful just to step through. I think it just occurred to me why this bug manifests when there are multiple change regions. What was your favorite design pattern? I don't know. I guess I forget the precise definition of design pattern, but I don't know. Does dependency injection, does that qualify? I guess it's just there's a few different techniques that make sense depending on the scenario. I think the decorator pattern. It's kind of a framework. Oh, I don't think I'd describe that as a framework, but dependency injection with Spring isn't a framework. I think you can do like some form of dependency injection in most languages. So it's not necessarily I think it's just about passing in some kind of object that implements an interface, which I get like, I mean, technically you could argue that like you could do the same concept in assembly language. So what are the two? I should have just kept it running. Oh, no sleep. I do sleep. I sleep once per day. No naps. No, naps are for babies. let's just step through this for fun. How does it feel hitting the triple digits? I would say I have no particular strong opinion about the subject. Those are the only kind of moments we have around here. Yep, this is a very high stakes, high intensity stream. Extreme programming. Extreme ASMR. Hyper tense. Mission critical programming. Yes, Catface. That is an accurate assessment of the current situation. Right, that's what I expected to see happen. right, so for this iteration, we got at j equals 1, its setting has changed to true. And then for the next changed region, this is a substantially inefficient thing. Another inefficiency I may have to address. If there are overlapping change regions, then it will recalculate what happens at a given cell twice. Ever tried any lead code questions? Most people study them before trying to get a job at Amazon. Lead code was before my time, after my time. So I've never tried out lead code. I know it's like the popular, people say they're grinding lead code and stuff. It could depend. I remember back when I had my Amazon interview, the questions they asked were like surprisingly basic. I think it was how to find duplicate elements in an array. That was one of the questions. And then the second interview was something else. I forget. And I remember coming away from the interview thinking I messed up on it. But then they hired me anyway. But I guess that's also the difference between a competitive and non-competitive job market. In Python, I'm not even sure they specified language. I think a lot of interviews will just say like, do it in whatever language you're comfortable with. I think I might have done it in like C or something. Actually, I don't even know if they got me to code it. I think they might have just asked me to like draw it out on paper and explain it or something. Okay, this is a critical thing. Oh, that's why. It's because, interesting, that's a very subtle bug. So the bug, so to make it more efficient, when I make a change to a layer, I have this like changed region. And the idea is to only iterate over and check a subset of the screen instead of the whole screen. Now one of the things that I do while I'm doing the merge operation is I clear the changed flags. So that way it only propagates changes. And the issue is, if I include if I include changed regions with overlapping, if I include, if I have multiple changed regions that overlap, it'll clear the flag on the first iteration, but then the second pass of that same point will not see the same value because it's already been cleared. So then when it's trying to figure out the change states, it's wrong. Does it surprise you that the DJ Max hacker coded his exploit while being extremely high to the point where he couldn't move? Someone had to type it for him. I'm not familiar with this story. He had to get someone else to type it for him. That's I mean, that's an unusual way to code an exploit. TJ Max hacker. When was this hack at? I'm not familiar with it. — 2007? Yeah, I don't know. I have no opinion on that. I'm not well read on that particular event. So this will be extremely inefficient, but at this point I'm not really going for efficiency anymore. I'll just get it to be correct and then I'll refactor it. You do it, just got out of a chat. Who banned me for saying I think I'm depressed. Just want someone to talk to. Oh, I see. Well, as long as you don't say anything bannable here, then sometimes people get banned by mistake. Sometimes I get like they're like, I don't know, just like groups of bots or people. or like people trolling or spamming, and it's not always clear which person is a member of the spamming group. I'm also not the best person to provide therapy or depending on whatever you're looking for. Won't let you worry about it. Excellent. This might introduce more bugs. Let's see if that works. Scared them off with our exuberant joy. I guess so. Oh, I didn't see the most recent. Probably just sad. Not surprised. Yeah, I don't know. Not sure what to contribute. Right. Let's see if the tests work now. Oh man, hope it just works. Wow, look at that. It's passing the test cases now. Never a boring day on our stream. That's right. Does Canada use metric or freedom units? We use metric, of course. Only freedom countries use freedom units. Nope, we're not a freedom country. We don't do that around here. I'm sad once, but then I bought an exclusive block mining simulator license. Never looked back. Excellent. The block miner is definitely a good tool to clear the blues. Except fuel economy, which is mallet per gallon everywhere. Yeah, actually, I mean, officially we're on metric, but like in terms of, like if you talk to carpenters and stuff, people always talk about feet. Nobody, like most people in the trades, if you go to like closer to scientific stuff, it is metric. But any kind of like random, random tradespeople will always just use foot. I'd say there's a decent subset of like, especially older people that get like kind of annoyed if you use metric. I guess a foot is a lot more intuitive. Canadians weigh things in G's. Geese. Geese are dangerous. They always try and fight with you. And they poop all over the sidewalk. They're the real authority figures up here. All right, now let's see what happens. If I increase the size of everything. All right, there's no crashes. So that's one more feature in my randomized code coverage. I can now randomly activate or deactivate one of the layers. So the next thing, it looks like your Y chords are plusing instead of overwriting. Oh, you mean with the scrolling? I want you to scroll because that's just my that's how I can visualize the output. These are just test cases, one after another. So the next thing is to get it working with screen layer offsets. That's a lot. Yeah, I'm just using basically like fuzz testing. So I want, I'm not being very smart about the test cases. I'm just kind of enumerating, you know, put 10 random characters on this layer, 10 random characters in this layer, then merge the two layers. And a couple of them will overlap. And then also put like random change flags in every area. So I'm having to think through define a behavior for like every single case. Which is kind of overkill, but it'll make it robust. Once I fix this and make it work, I don't really want to have to come back and think about it. So the next thing to implement will be position offsets. So I want to be able to have to merge, say, this layer onto that layer, but with a slight offset. And I need to make some changes to the test case to support that as well. Last video I saw from you was 5 months ago. Did you ever get evicted? I did not. The next hearing, let's see, the June 24, that was the last that we had a hearing, the NL2 merits hearing. Me and like 30 other people in the building. About 30 other people have just like given up and left. And then another 30 people are still here. And our next hearing is going to be, so we ran out of time. There was another witness who was going to testify, an expert witness who was going to testify. So the next hearing is going to be October 6th. And then I think that'll be it for the section. There's a few different sections in the Tenancy Act that we're going to argue. So, I mean, there could even be another hearing after that. So we might even have another, it might go into 2026, the hearings. They've started losing at other buildings, so it might be, I think they're leaning toward siding with us because they don't have very good evidence. Anyway, I'll probably leave it there for tonight. I made a little bit of progress. Got the active layer issue figured out. That's one step closer to getting this stupid layer merging algorithm working. All right. Have a good night, guys. /me sneaks a limit equal 1 bug when Robert's not looking. That's mean. All right. Have a good night, guys.